Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Home to Self podcast. My name is Lilly. I am your host. And today's conversation is going to be all about learning how to trust life through big transitions. This is a theme that we will revisit over and over and over again in our lives whenever we step into change, whether that is a breakup, moving, stepping into a different career, or just making any change in your life that feels scary, that feels big. It is something that, like I said, we will revisit. And when we can learn how to soften into the unknown that comes with change, we make that transition so much more easeful. And we invite in the opportunity that lives within change. Everything in this life is constantly in flux. We are constantly changing as humans, and our lives are changing with us as a reflection of our growth. And so when we can learn how to view change and approach it in a new way that is more supportive of what is trying to happen, of what life is showing us and moving us into, it becomes a completely different experience. And you're able to actually transition with more ease. And like I said, open yourself up to all the possibilities that are trying to come your way, because that's really what change is. You know, we are here as souls to evolve, to shift, to grow and become. And so it requires us to constantly let go of our past selves, our past lives, old habits, different situations that are keeping us from evolving so that we can step into something new. And so my intention with this conversation, with this podcast, is really to help guide you into deeper trust in life, trust in yourself, and trust in the actual process of change and transition. So we're going to start off with why change can feel so hard and scary. The big thing is that the mind can only ever measure what it might lose through a transition and not what you will gain. So I'm going to say that again. The mind can only measure what you might lose and not what you might gain through this transition. And so that's where all of the fear comes in, the resistance, right? Holding on to what was and really kind of gripping so tightly as we try and step forward. And the reason for this is because anything that might come is still in the unknown. But everything that you could lose is data that the mind can actually use as evidence to predict the future. So when we are unconsciously moving through change, that's again why so much fear can come up in that moment, because your mind is automatically looking behind. It's looking in the rearview mirror at what was life when I had this thing that's now shifting. And how is that going to be a loss as I step into this new space? So with that reframe, looking through that lens, it feels really scary because everything that is known is predictable. And our minds love predictability. It fears uncertainty. But the reason it fears uncertainty is not actually because the unknown is going to be filled with all the worst case scenarios, but it's because, again, we're still using the past to try and predict the future, which shuts off all of the potential that actually lives in the unknown. The unknown is literally just empty space. And within that empty space, all possibilities exist. But again, what you are viewing and putting into that unknown, putting into that future, is only what you can grip onto, your mind can grip onto from past experiences. But knowing that we live in an infinite universe that has infinite potential, literally anything that you can imagine, and even more than that, exists in the space that we call the future. So when we can start to reframe our relationship with the unknown, with the future, it becomes even exciting. It becomes definitely less scary, but even exciting when we can start to imagine and use our imaginations for good. But before we get there, there's a step in between that can feel like a bridge to more of that exciting future of manifesting the better outcome that you desire. And that bridge is reaching a place of peace and neutrality. And the way that we do that is by coming back into the present moment. So again, the way that I said that the future and the change on the other side of that transition, why that feels scary is because, again, we are projecting automatically, without even knowing it, our fears and our losses into the future. And so that creates that fear in the now moment. So the first step is really recognizing you are right here, right now, and that's the only certainty you have. You actually don't know if those worst case scenarios are going to be true. You don't know the loss that actually exists on the other side. All you know and can stand in with more freedom and more peace is the right now, right? So it's almost like dissolving the fear and not using that as evidence for the future, and instead just being like, I'm right here, right now, and right here is all I need in order to feel at peace. That already invites in a sense of okayness in the body. And from there, we can start to use our imagination for good. And the way that we do this is by redirecting our focus. Again, when we are doing this unconsciously, when we are moving through any change in our life unconsciously, the mind will automatically use the past to try and predict the future. But the past has actually nothing to do with the future. If the future is unknown, that means anything could happen. All of these beautiful opportunities that could come, you might not even be aware of. But you do have the potential to tap into that, to create an excitement in the now and actually open yourself up to receiving more of those beautiful opportunities and calling them in through a frequency of openness, of potential. And the way that you can do that is by starting to ask better questions, asking yourself a different question. Because whatever you focus on, your mind will look for evidence to support that. So again, if you are thinking of, oh, what am I going to lose? How is this going to be such scary and big change? That is where your focus is. And then your mind will look for more reasons to support that narrative. However, you also have the power to redirect your focus and start to look for potential. Asking yourself questions such as, what might I gain from this change? Now your mind is going to look for that. What's the potential? The potential of moving through a breakup. Okay, you might have this beautiful opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to rebuild your relationship with you, to discover who you truly are and what you truly desire, to create new routines that are actually in alignment with you, right? To be in your own energy, to call in new friends, new partnership. Those are all potentials that, again, until you actually redirect your focus there, your mind's not going to automatically go there. But the moment you start feeling into that, you might already feel some sense of excitement of what potentially could come that would benefit you. Another powerful question to ask is, how might this be happening for me? So often when we are going through transition, we are in tunnel vision. We can only see, right, what's here, what's in front of us, what we're going to lose, how this is going to be so scary. But when you zoom out a little bit and recognize that it's about the journey of who you are becoming through all of these changes in your life, that's when you can kind of see the bigger perspective of how is this happening for me? And that is really the anchor that allows you to soften and trust life. Because you recognize that it's not actually about every little decision that you're making, but it's about the bigger picture of your life's journey and who you become in the process. So something that I tell my clients all the time and that I use for myself is remembering that your soul came here on a mission, that you arrived here with certain programs, certain conditioning that you acquired in childhood. And it's really this whole process of your life is this spiritual evolution of you coming back more and more to your truth, your authentic self, and creating a life from that place. And so from that perspective, from that lens, how is this transitioning happening for your greater good? And the thing to remember here is that life isn't happening in such a way to keep you comfortable. It's not always your preference in the moment, but in the long run, you usually understand why things had to happen the way that they did. If life is your greatest teacher, and if this life is your schooling, then how is this change, even if it makes no sense, even if it's scary, even if it feels so not right, Can you actually tap into the perspective that this is happening for your evolution and gain the knowledge that you only normally would get in hindsight? Because that's usually how it happens, right? We resist change. We just think it's the worst thing ever. And then after some time passes and things settle and fall into place, you're like, oh yeah, I realize why that happened for me. And if we can tap into that wisdom ahead of time, you save yourself so much resistance and suffering in the moment, because it allows you to open yourself up a little bit and say, okay, I may not be enjoying this. This might not be my preference right now, but I can see how this might be happening for my evolution. And in that, we allow life to do its thing. Because life is always happening for you. And the way that it does this, which is why, again, change feels so scary, is because it will force you into that if you are still gripping and resisting, right? Because it's not here to just keep you comfortable. It's here to help you actually get to who you're meant to be and arrive at, and really claim and become the embodiment of the desires and the dreams that you have. And so sometimes it has to do that by stripping away the things that are no longer in alignment. But those things feel so comfortable because they are known, right? So that relationship that you know isn't really in alignment anymore, and yet it feels so scary to let it go because it feels so known and comfortable and familiar. Sometimes life literally has to take that from you so that you can actually move forward in becoming who you want to be and calling something in that's actually in alignment with who you are becoming. And there's this picture that floats around on social media that I always come back to that's so touching, of this little girl, and she's holding her teddy bear, and it's just like, her comfort, her love. It's this little teddy bear that she adores. And God is kneeling in front of her, asking her to give him her teddy bear. And she can't understand why he's taking this precious gift from her. But what she's not seeing, but what you see in the picture, is that God's holding a bigger teddy bear behind its back. And that is such a beautiful metaphor for change, for understanding how life works in your favor. That even if you can't see why something is happening right now, can we trust that it's making space for something bigger, something better, something that is more in alignment with actually what you want and who you are here to become? And so the pieces that get triggered through transitions, through change, are the very things that are needing to shift. That's why it's an uncomfortable transition. That's why life in and of itself is uncomfortable, and growth is too. Because in order to change, we have to be willing to look at what is still holding us back. And if it were up to us, we would never choose, maybe not never, but it's harder to choose to let go of the things that in the moment feel like we need them. But it's only through that taking, that letting go, that you make space for something new to drop in. So again, can we have such a trust in life that it knows what it's doing, that it is trying to help you, like a parent who knows, or let's put it this way, like a dog owner. I'm not a parent, so I can use this analogy better. Like a dog owner, right? Your dog might want the chocolate so bad that you're eating, and it looks at you with these eyes of like, please just give it to me. It's just a little bite. I just want some. And it seems like, oh, I just want to like love on that little dog and give it what it wants. However, I know as the adult, as the human, that dogs can't eat chocolate because they will get sick. And so I, using that information, don't give the dog chocolate. And so in the same way, it's like, can you trust that life is the adult? Life is the parent. Life is the bigger perspective that knows how this plays out and what you actually need in the long run. Can we soften into the intelligence that is at play? Because that's usually the first thing that we lose sight of during scary transitions. Because again, the mind is just trying to protect you. It's trying to help you survive. That is the role of the mind. And the only way it knows how to do that is by holding on to what's familiar. It doesn't It doesn't automatically go to like, what is all of the good that could come from this unless you train it to look for that. So if we can continually remind ourselves that life is happening for us, that there's a greater intelligence at play, the same intelligence that is at work in this entire universe and on this planet, that allows trees to talk to each other and communicate through mycelial networks, like everything from the micro of just the intelligence that is at play that allows your body to operate with all these different systems that work cohesively to keep your heart beating, to keep everything flowing the way that it needs to for you to be alive, that is so far beyond our human comprehension. That same intelligence is at play in the macro, the earth rotating in the exact speed that it needs to for life to happen. I mean, there's infinite examples of this. But that same intelligence is at play in your life. And again, you are not aware of it. You only have so much information in this now moment. And so there's such a beautiful softening into trust that can happen when we allow ourselves to remember the intelligence that is at play. And recognize, again, it's not about your comfort right now. It's about your growth and what you actually are here to do and here to become in the long run. And so can we trust that it's happening for us? Can we trust that maybe the thing that's being taken away is not to, make you sad. It's not to ruin your life, but it's so that you can create space for the bigger thing to land, for the thing to land that's actually what you want in this life. And the next piece of this is also trusting yourself through this process. Every transition comes with such a beautiful opportunity to connect more deeply to yourself, for you to be that anchor that is unwavering. While other things and circumstances will constantly change and evolve in your life, the one thing that you can count on that will stay forever is your relationship with yourself. And so when there's uncertainty around you, can you use that as an invitation to create more trust and certainty within yourself? And what this looks like is becoming the person who doesn't abandon herself, the person who stays through all of it, the safe space literally inside of you that you can always come back to, that no one can take from you. That looks like showing up for all parts of you, especially when it's hard. In a relationship, for example, a relationship that's transitioning where you're so scared to lose that support, lose that safety, that love from someone else, can you use that transition, that letting go process to really build more of those feelings, more of that, what you're getting from the other person within yourself? That is the beautiful opportunity through any change. And it builds this deep trust in your own resilience and an ability to navigate the unknown. Because you're like, I've got me. And I can trust myself that I will figure it out, that I won't abandon myself, that I will show up to myself and give myself the needs that I am seeking from external things and people. What this looks like too is when you have emotions come up, instead of outsourcing them, or feeling like you need to get them through your life, can you start to practice giving that to yourself? Giving yourself the comfort and the support that you would give a friend when they need it. This might look like a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly for some physical comfort and safety. This looks like feeling your emotions, because that is communicating, hey, I'm here with you. You have my presence. You have my unconditional love. That looks like taking care of yourself, giving yourself the things that bring you joy. Learning how to be your own best friend, your own support system, your own anchor is such a beautiful process that we have through any transition, because again, that is coming from within you, so nothing can take that from you. And the last few pieces of this is within that transition, recognizing that there will always be dual experiences. There will always be multiple experiences and emotions happening at once. And it is our ability to be a mature human being that can hold space for all the different parts and experiences at the same time that allows us to feel whole, and that softens us again into the transition and through the process. So part of this creating trust with yourself is recognizing there's different parts of you, right? There's a part of you that's fearful. There's a part of you that might be uncertain. There's all these different parts that exist, especially through change. And your safety comes in making room for all of them. Your subconscious is like a round table with all these different parts of you, all the different parts of your psyche. Again, there's your inner child. There's the part that judges things. There's the part of you that's uncertain. There's the part of you that knows and feels fine. And it's like, can we just allow them all to coexist at once? Recognizing that you are actually none of those parts. You are the awareness that notices them all interacting at this dinner table. So it's like, okay, there's a part of me that's scared. How would I show up for someone that I love who is scared? I wouldn't try to change them or tell them they're wrong or make it mean something. I would just create space for them to feel that fear and be okay. And it's like, it's going to pass, right? We'd kind of coach them through it maybe. And at the same time, can we hold the grief of letting go of something that was so comforting to us while also holding the parts of us that know that there's something better coming? That is true spiritual maturity and emotional maturity, is this capacity to recognize that as a human, you are so multifaceted. There's so much happening at once. And if you don't get lost in any one thing and allow that to become the sole experience of your reality, it becomes a lot easier to just navigate all of it together. It's like all of our parts are in the car and we are still driving forward. The driver is you, it's your awareness, it's your higher self, and it's life. But all your parts get to still be in the car. Because the moment you try to change them or make them wrong or say it shouldn't be and this part shouldn't be here, that's when we get stuck there. Because we are identifying with it, we're pushing it away and therefore intensifying it. Let it all be part of your experience. That's part of being human. And again, it's not about getting rid of them. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong about the direction you're going. It's just part of the process. And when you change the way you relate with yourself and all the different experiences that you are experiencing at once, it becomes a lot easier to still move forward, to still trust. And within that process, life will continue to reveal the journey. Again, the same way that I said that life happens, and usually in hindsight, we end up realizing why things needed to happen the way they did. It's like, can we hold on to that knowing in the now as we're going through the change? Recognizing that more will be revealed as you take one step at a time. It's like a big puzzle that's missing all of these pieces, but every time you step forward and you let life just show you the way, a new piece is brought into the puzzle and it starts to show you the bigger picture. Overwhelm comes when we think we have to have the whole puzzle figured out before we take the next step. We can't see it yet. You can't see the big picture yet. And so it requires this blind faith in the unknown, knowing that those pieces will land a little bit at a time. You can't figure it all out without all the information yet. And this is part of life. Part of the mystery of it is that you don't know exactly when the pieces will land and what they will look like and where they will fit. But that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting. Right? We watch a movie because we don't know what's going to happen, and it surprises us. And sometimes it scares us and it makes us sad, and we're like, no, this should have happened this way. But then by the end of the movie, it all makes sense. That's the kind of mystery that you are playing out as a human being in this life. And so instead of feeling like you need to control it all and you need to have it all figured out in order to be okay, can you just trust the process? Trust so deeply, and that is a muscle that you build over time through all of these little practical tips that I'm giving you and these reframes. There's just a softness that happens in your system when you recognize, okay, I don't know yet, but it will come, and I will know soon. And right now I'm right here, and for some reason this change is needing to happen, because if not, it wouldn't even be here. Like, you can trust that you're exactly where you need to be, because that's exactly where you are. Reality is the way that it is always. And then it is us with our minds and our judgments that say it should or shouldn't be that way. And when we say it shouldn't be the way that it is, we are literally fighting reality. And we will always lose that battle. It creates suffering. Literally, the delta between life and your resistance to it, that is suffering. And it's only there because we are interpreting it as a loss, as something bad, as something that shouldn't be. But who are we to say that life shouldn't be happening the way that it is? Again, that is fighting the greater intelligence of this life, of your life. But when you can trust that there's something greater at play, that it's not up to you to figure it all out right now, because that defeats the whole purpose of why we are humans, why we are going through this mysterious life that is unknown in the moment. That's what allows us to soften into it and let life kind of take the wheel. The last thing I want to say here is that you can't mess up what's meant for you. That's another piece that really allows us to trust the unfolding of our lives, is recognizing that, yes, we have free will to make choices. And so there's always this fear of like, am I making the right choice? And that's, again, what creates a lot of our resistance, because we think it's all up to us and we need to know, and there's a right and a wrong choice to do or decision to make. And instead, reframing that as recognizing there is no right or wrong choice. That is all a creation of the mind. Life itself, like, it's not like these decisions have labels on them that say right or wrong. At the end of the day, you make decisions as best as you can, and then life will show you why. And so instead of trying to make the right decision, make the decision that feels best for now right. Make the decision right. And how do you do that? Again, through all these reframes of trusting that this is the right decision and I'll know why eventually. And I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to put the trust in life. And I'm going to make it right. Because I'm going to keep learning and growing. And the reason you can't mess it up is because your soul is here for an evolution, for growth. So no matter which little decisions you make, that is still the journey that will unfold. You're still going to arrive at the same destination, no matter which path you take. Because it's not about the circumstances themselves and the decisions themselves. It's about who you are becoming in the process. That's really what's going on here. It's a spiritual evolution. And so no matter which decision you take, can you just trust that you are still becoming the person who you came here to become? And knowing that it's not even about the destination, because the destination is like this ever-evolving thing and it doesn't end until we die. It's about the journey, as cliche as that sounds. It really is. It's about who are you becoming through these changes? How are you stepping deeper into alignment? How are you starting to trust life more, release control, become the person that doesn't abandon herself? Like, how is this building your character, your resiliency, your trust? How are you using this as an opportunity to get to know yourself on a deeper level? Those are the lessons that really are the gift and the opportunity through any change, through your whole life. And that gets to happen no matter which decisions you make. So trust the timing of your life. Trust that it's happening right now for a reason, or else it wouldn't be happening. Trust in your capacity to hold all of the different parts, all of the different emotions that arise through your transitions. And trust that what's meant for you can't pass you by. That there is a reason for the changes that are happening, even if you can't see them right now. That you are becoming who you need to become. And so through this transition, remind yourself, part of it is the mindset work, right? The reframes, catching yourself when you are in a limiting story, projecting into the future, and coming back to the now, breathing, using somatic practices to ground yourself, to calm your nervous system, and then literally speak and think of a reality that you actually want to create. When you believe that life is happening for you and you start to look for ways and small signs of how this is all unfolding for your greater good, your mind will continue to find evidence to support that narrative. We are making up the meanings that we assign to life. So you might as well create a meaning that it's all working out for you so that you can see more of that and find your alignment. Because if not, instead, you will just continue to resist and hold on to the past and therefore hinder your capacity to grow and evolve and change in a more easeful way and opening yourself up to all the opportunities that are trying to land. Because change is just redirection. It's just redirecting you. It's like, hey, it's this like navigation system, right? It's like this GPS. It's like, no, actually take this road that you've never taken before because it's actually a faster route to get to where you want to be. And it's like, no, but like, I swear I have to go this way because I know it. I know this path. But it's like, hey, how many other paths are there that you just weren't aware of? Might be a more scenic route and probably will get you there faster. You trust the GPS, right? Life is that GPS. So I hope that this conversation has been helpful in supporting you if you're going through any big life transitions, which I know I am. I just moved into a new apartment. There's a lot of little shifts that are happening and big shifts as well. And these are the reframes that I am holding for myself, the practices that I am using to soften into the unknown and let life guide me. And every time I do that, a new piece of the puzzle is revealed. And I am shown why this is all happening for me. Change doesn't have to be this big, scary thing, but it is up to us to relate to it differently and practice letting life show us the way. It's not all up to us. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, and I will see you in the next one.